Sonic Triple Trouble and Sonic Blast are two very unpopular Game Gear games. And they're all popular in the Sonic franchise itself, seen as, like I said, they're Game Gear games. And since I'm kind of running out of ideas a little bit, I decided to do a Sonic video yet again, since the other ones on my channel performed really well compared to my other ones. Just not as good as the Donkey Kong ranking video somehow. I might make a new Donkey Kong video, but it's kind of hard to make videos for that, so I was thinking. This video is based off of how fun the games are, and if they're replayable, and if they have good levels on it all. So let's get started with our first topic. The first topic, like basically every other versus video on my channel, is obviously going to be characters, assuming you've watched any of my other videos. Anyway, Triple Trouble has two characters, Sonic obviously and Tails. Sonic works exactly as you'd expect. There's nothing different about him from any of the other games. He can spin dash and everything else you're used to. Tails, on the other hand, works a little bit different than you'd expect. You can obviously do the classic moves and stuff that Sonic can, but Tails flies. And yeah, that's normal, but the way you start flying is kind of confusing to figure out. You have to hold up, then press whatever jump button you mapped it to, assuming you're on the emulator. Then Tails will start flying. But unlike Sonic 2, you don't have to spam the jump button to start flying up in the air higher. Instead, you just move up the joystick or the D-pad. But Tails is obviously limited to him only being able to fly for a short amount of time. Sonic Blast has two characters as well. Sonic, of course, and Knuckles. Tails, sadly, is nowhere to be found. Knuckles also works as you would expect. He can hover in the air for a certain amount of time, depending on how high up in the air you are. He can climb. Since they both have the same amount of characters, it's gonna have to come down to how useful the characters both are. Sonic works the same in both games, but he can double jump in Sonic Blast. I personally love how he can do that. In Triple Trouble, he doesn't do anything special, sadly. Tails in Triple Trouble is actually very useful. He can obviously fly. Knuckles hovers and can climb on walls. But I find that Tails is more useful, and though Blast also has something against Triple Trouble, since Sonic can obviously double jump, it's honestly not that useful compared to some of the other things that Tails has. And I guess you could say that with it as well. And I don't really find myself using it often unless I'm in water. So for this topic, I'm going to have to say that Sonic Triple Trouble wins this one. Zone and Act Count are my next topic. I think that the name is pretty self-explanatory, but if you don't know what I mean, then this is what it is. Zone and Act Count is basically how many zones and acts both games have. Triple Trouble has 6 zones. They all have 3 acts each, which means there's 18 levels in the game in general. It's pretty short, but I mean, it's a Game Gear, so whatever. Sonic Blast has 5 zones, also with 3 acts each. The Triple Trouble has one more zone, so Triple's gonna win, I guess, for this one. My third topic will be level design. The design of stages is the most important part about video games, especially platformers. Sonic games are supposed to be fast-paced, while Sonic Blast is only fast-paced in Green Hill, well, except for Yellow, Desert Zone, Red Volcano, and a little tiny bit of Silver Castle Zone. Blue Marine Zone is very slow-paced since it's a water world, and yeah, even if it's reasonable, it's not fun to play by any means at all. Secret stages are simple, but they auto-scroll. Yeah, you heard that right. You're auto-scroller in a Sonic game. That's kind of unusual, but you know, they function similar to the ones in Sonic 3. Except you have to get a certain amount of rings. If you get enough, then you get another life. So it's not too unusual, it's just, I don't know, it's just weird to see an auto-scroll in a Sonic game. It's got some fun gimmicks here and there, but not much. The game also barely has any enemies like most other Sonic games. Its simple difficulty makes it a lot different from other Sonic games. A little too different, to be honest. Sonic Triple Trouble, on the other hand, is considered to be a pretty fast game, well, most of the time. A little bit more fast-paced than Blast. The only reason people might say that Blast is a better game is probably because Blast looks a little bit better to most people's opinions, but the pixels of Sonic Blast are kind of just too much on my eyes sometimes. But that has little to nothing to do with the level design of each game, so let's continue. The design of Triple Trouble is full of secrets. There's these boxes that have emeralds on them, and if you find them, then it takes you to a secret area when you jump on the boxes. And if you finish it, I believe you get an emerald. I'm judging that by how the end of the stage with the text though, because it says you got an emerald. But as far as I know, the emeralds don't really serve much of a purpose in the game. I say that Trouble Trouble doesn't have much enemies in the levels either, but the amount of enemies still offers a little bit more difficulty than Blast does. That's all I got to say about level design. As I'm sure you can tell, I think Trouble Trouble has way better level design than Blast. So let's move on to my next topic. My fourth topic will be, of course, bosses. I'll just be comparing the bosses of each game, of each zone. Trouble Trouble's first boss is a bird-looking thing, and at first you just jump in the air to kill the bird. But on the second and last phase of bird, it's higher up in the sky. First thing you use these springs on top of these moving enemies, and if you don't just hit the bird when you fall down. You'll get hit if you don't press the jump button a little bit before you hit the bird, because you'll get into your spin dash animation, and then you'll hit it. The first boss in Sonic Blast is just Eggman. He throws these boomerang looking things, and yeah, that's the best I can come up with. And you really just hit the glass part, kind of similar to multiple other simple Sonic fights as you'd expect. And then you win the fight. The second fight in Trouble Trouble starts out with some enemies in the air, and they have some small spike balls on the bottom. You have to jump on the enemies to avoid not getting hit. And there's this middle thing that shoots a little larger spike ball. The next fight of Blast is more so the same thing as the first one, but Eggman shoots lasers after you hit him. The third fight in Trouble Trouble is a robot bird there, and he fills up some smaller metal birds. You can easily just stand right behind him and then wait for him to move, which doesn't even really take long to do. He moves like every second. And then just avoid all the enemies to cheese the boss. It's way too simple, and it's honestly probably my least favorite boss in the game. Maybe besides the first one out. Next boss of Blast is Eggman in a sprint, and he has a chain with a large ball. But it's not hard to do at all. You really just obviously have to hit him. It's not hard. The next boss of Trouble Trouble is really just you kind of racing Metal Sonic. At first, you don't even really race him. I think he just follows you the whole time. Then you have to dodge some of his attacks, and then you have to hit him afterwards. The next boss of Blast is Eggman in a submarine shooting darts. The fifth and final boss of Trouble Trouble is Eggman in the sky with a machine and protects himself on the bottom and shoots stuff down on the surface. After you get a chance to hit him. Next boss of Blast is Eggman in, you guessed it, the sky with one of his machines. And there's this object that makes the dart hit him right back. And that's all the bosses I can talk about. You might be wondering, what the heck does that mean, that I can talk about? Trouble Trouble has one less boss than Blast, which is surprising, seeing as Blast only has 5 zones and Trouble Trouble has 6 zones. I'm gonna be honest, I think I'm missing a boss in the script. This is not on the script, but I think I'm missing a boss right now. And Trouble Trouble, I honestly don't know. Let's continue on. Yeah, so I think Trouble Trouble has one less boss than Blast, so I can't talk about the actual final one in Blast. I think that Blast has better bosses, and yeah, sure. Some would say that they're more simplistic, but to me, they're not at all. So Blast wins this category. Final topic will be textures. Okay, sure. I know, this is kind of unfair, but I want to have one more topic so both games still have a tie with points. The textures of the Trouble Trouble are your classic pixelated game view graphics, but Blast, on the other hand, is kind of just the complete opposite. I honestly don't know what to say. The texture is honestly a little bit too much on your eyes for me, but I still would say that Blast has better textures because they're not quite as pixelated. Kinda, I guess you could say. So yeah, so I'd say that Blast has better textures in my opinion. So I personally think that Trouble Trouble is a better game, but I would honestly should have done this video with Sonic Trouble Trouble.